Right then, here's what you probably already know about sports spread betting. It's incredibly exciting. The more right you are, the more money you could win, or lose if you're wrong, and you can keep betting right up to the final whistle. But here's what you probably think about sports spread betting. It's ludicrously complicated, only done by city boys for, quote, classic banter, and could end up costing you an arm and a leg. Or, at the very least, a little finger. But here's the thing. With just a little knowledge, sports spread betting is actually a doddle to get your head around. And, provided you're sensible, is no way near as risky as you think, meaning your arms are perfectly safe. So, sit back and give me 4 minutes of your time to explain more. So, what exactly is sports spread betting? Basically, it's a wager that rewards your knowledge of sport, and the more right you are, the more money you stand to win. Or, if you're wrong, lose. What does that mean? Well, let me take you through an example. Let's say the 1994 Brazil World Cup squad are taking on your mate Fat Dave's Sunday League team. Sporting Index thinks there will be 3 goals scored, so they offer a spread of 2.9 to 3.1. This is the spread bit of sports spread betting. The betting bit asks you to wager on whether you think there will be more or less than 3 goals. If you think it's going to be a back-of-the-net bonanza, and let's be honest, that's really quite likely, you would buy at 3.1. But if you thought there would be less goals scored, you would sell at 2.9, which I know sounds confusing, but all it means is you want to lay on a bet at the lower figure. Anyway, let's say at full time there were 7 goals. If you'd wagered a tenner and bought at 3.1, that means you would make 39 quid, which is the difference between the result and the price you bought at multiplied by your stake. In other words, 3.9 multiplied by your tenner equals 39 quid. If, however, it was a much closer game and there was only 1 goal scored, you would lose £21, which would be your stake multiplied by the difference between the price you bought at minus the result. See, not half as difficult to grasp as you thought, is it? And goals are just the tip of the sports spread betting iceberg. Spread betting lets you wager on a huge variety of outcomes in football, from the number of corners, to bookings, to team performance, meaning that even a 0-0 snooze fest can have the excitement of a cup final. Let me show you how. Let's imagine Fat Dave's Sunday League side is now taking on the 1954 Yugoslavian national squad. You know the game's going to be about as much fun as a night in scrapbooking with James Milner. But that doesn't stop you injecting some excitement by taking a sports spread bet on corners. Let's say the spread is 10.0 to 10.5, i.e. 10 corners in total. Now, let's say the match produces a combined total of 17 corners. If you bought them at 10.5 and put a fiver down, you would make a tidy £32.50. Suddenly, seeing that tubby idiot Dave constantly hoof the ball wide becomes the most exciting 90 minutes possible. But of course, if you got it wrong, you would lose money, because with excitement comes risk. And now you've got a basic idea of how it works, I'm guessing the only thing holding you back is the whole you can lose more than your initial stake thing. Well, yeah, you can. But the good news is, if you're sensible, you can minimise your risk. And in some markets, you can actually limit the amount you could lose. For example, let's say you weren't prepared to lose any more than 30 quid betting on goals at Fat Dave's testimonial game. If the price to buy goals at in the match is 2.5, you would bet 12 quid. Why? Because the worst result for you is that it finishes 0-0, and you would lose 2.5 times 12, or 30 quid. The flip side of that, of course, is that if there were 6 goals in the game, you would win a handsome £42. Plus, with sports spread betting, you can cash out before the end of the game if things aren't going your way. It's not going to stop you potentially losing some money, but it means you're in control of how much you would lose. And lastly, with Sporting Index accepting stakes as low as 5p in some markets, you really can protect yourself. And that, in a nutshell, is sports spread betting. Not nearly as scary as you thought, right? Just a simple bit of maths that makes an average sporting event a lot more exciting. And as long as you remember that sports spread betting can result in losses greater than your initial deposit or credit limit, you're now ready to give it a go.